yam and salad with some boursin and some almond milk. And James is going to have a chocolate bar and some grapes. And I'm going to review this Biochemistry and Molecular Biology great course. I don't know if you can see the lineup here. So there's Gotham, Kraven the Hunter, Wedding at Graceland, and Superman and Lois, Armor and Gunner. So that's the stack today, and it looks like James has a lot of things here, but I don't think
we're getting sometime in the near future.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Because I don't think he realized that I had this big stack here. So since he chose to sit at that side, we're going to switch this over.
It's easier to shift those over than to have Pauline trying to hop over.
There's that. And yeah, you know, it's funny. I was at Shoppers Drug Mart, the normal one, the one that I normally go to. Normal. They're all normal. And I heard somebody telling her friends, this is where I go to get all of my groceries. There's a lot of people that figured out it's really cheap to buy the clearance food there. So, like, I got this chocolate bar from a different Shoppers Drug Mart, not the one I normally go to. But I got this for 99 cents. And the jug of, like, a 2-liter of I got both soy milk and almond milk, and right now James is drinking almond milk, and I don't know what he'll rather have for his cereal, because I bought him also clearance cereal.
It doesn't matter to me, like, I'm not a big fan of milk, but to me the thrill of cereal is not the milk, but the cereal itself.
Sure. So anyway, so he's having that, and it was 87 cents for, I think for a 2-liter jug of it. And that was 87 cents for 6 of these. And I tried one of them already, and I mean, you can see that it looks like it's made for kids, and it definitely tastes like it's made for kids.
It's yogurt then?
I think James will prefer it to me, so I brought 2 out. So you can give that a shake and a drink and see what you think of that.
Shake your yogurt.
Yeah. So this definitely got top of the stack, and this would be top of the many stacks, this Biochemistry and Molecular Biology.
Now, you've been going through that for quite a while now.
Yeah, but I have to return it, and I'll go through it in the winter at a later date, because I don't have the DVD player I have right now doesn't have a remote control, and luckily it does have stop and play on the machine itself, but it's not how I go through these great courses, and it makes it very difficult for me to watch them. So I did get a lot of information watching this, but I will get more the next time I go through it. So I do plan to go through it at a different date, and so I will review it at a different date. I'm just going to say now, definitely worth it. So I don't know. A lot of people hate poetry, so you might hate his poetry. And some of it, a lot of the time he's come up with songs and stuff that are they're coming, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something like that, right? But he's so he's used that melody and put different words to it. And honestly, I don't think there would be very many people who would be as good at writing poetry and know as much about biochemistry and molecular biology as this guy. So for what he's doing, he's awesome. There's sometimes where he doesn't get the rhythm of language right, and so he's having to, a lot of people do that, you know. I didn't used to hear it as much, but songs would annoy me, and I didn't know why when they had lyrics, and finally I went to listen to music without lyrics, or music in a different language that I didn't understand.
That's what you prefer
more,
right?
Yeah, because I was just so annoyed with listening to music with lyrics in English that I understood, right? And now listening to them, well, I realize I can't remember. I had a song going through my head because it was in this stack, so it might come to me again. And I thought, wow, yeah, you got it wrong. Oh, it was that Elvis song, a little less da 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 da. It was some satisfaction or something like just give me or keep me satisfied. That's what it. But he doesn't say satisfied. He says satisfied or something in it. And I was like, oh man, yeah, that's bad. But it's a great song. And anyway, I can't remember the name of the song, but at least I remembered what that was, the satisfied thing that annoyed me. You can't get the rhythm of language wrong when you're writing lyrics, when you're writing music for lyrics, or when you're writing lyrics for music. You have to follow the rhythm of language. You can't mix that up, or people will really get annoyed with it, and they won't necessarily know why. They'll be like, God, I love the sound of that song, and why do I hate it all of a sudden so much? Right now that I've listened to it a few times, I know the lyrics, and boy, it's just driving me crazy because I really know this song, and yeah, so that's why. It's because they haven't, the accents aren't in the right place.
Sometimes it's hard to tell what.
Sometimes it is hard to say, or hard to tell what they're saying because the accents aren't in the right place. What was satisfied. Satisfied.
That one's not as bad as.
That's not as bad as a lot.
Satisfied, and some people do things.
Some do things like that, right? Yeah, because satisfied. When you're writing the, that's one. When you're actually writing, say you're writing your lyrics in iambic pentameter, iambic, whatever. Then da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. The satisfied, right? The sat and the fied are accented syllables, but one gets a stronger accent. And that's a little bit trickier because a lot of people don't realize that when you're writing lyrics, you definitely have to pay attention to the strength of the accent, and it has to be, because a lot of the time with writing lyrics, we really like a kind of repetition in the melody so that we can remember it, right? It helps us remember things, which is why this guy was using this for biochemistry. It's helping remember, and it's helping his students remember these things by making little rhymes and stuff and songs for so that they could remember, because there's a lot of material there to remember. So and it helps people. They like it. People like to feel smart. They learn a song and they know the lyrics and whatever, and it makes them feel really smart. They learn the lyrics, right? And they don't consciously think of it, but they feel that way still. So there needs to be some sort of repetition in the melody so that it will be easier for them to pick up on and remember. And the lyrics have to actually match that rhythm pattern. So secondary accents, which almost nobody even recognizes as being important, they're extremely important with lyric writing. Right, James?
They're even important in the way we speak English. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's only recently I've come to realize that English is basically a 4/4 language. It's not iambic pentameter or anything like that. Not 2/4 language. It's a 4/4 language.
It's like a bottle. Look. Why would this is for really little kids, so you can go, or if we're in school when you want to pretend like you're a little baby. That's silly.
English is basically a 4/4 language. We actually don't just pile up da 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 or da da da. We actually pile up. We have compound rhythms. So 4/4 is like two 4s put together. So deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans. So it's like strongest, weak, second strongest, weak. Strongest, weak, second strongest, weak, second strongest, weak. It starts off 4/4, and then it goes to it has kind of like a overall triple rhythm.
Oh, and to make it more complicated though, punctuation matters. When you hit, like, it depends on what kind of punctuation. Sometimes if it's a comma or whatever, it doesn't affect it. But if it's a period or a semicolon or something like that, it will affect it. So the rhythm pattern then starts all over again.
Well,
And
that's
the rhythm
best way to do it.
Yeah,
But,
the rhythm pattern actually starts at the end of the sentence and works its way back, because our brains, they go, that we're actually thinking things through before we say them, and we don't realize that we are, because this is something that we've just learned way long ago. It's automatic. We don't think of it. But when you're writing poetry, you learn that's the way you think. So you start at the end of the sentence, and the rhythm pattern, then everything along the way affects it. So when you're writing a poem, you'll think you're writing da-dump, 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 and everything from the beginning, you're writing from the beginning to the end, but what's at the end is going to affect that, and then all the way back. So you have to actually go back and forth while you're writing.
Yeah, English tends to be that way. I can't guarantee it's that way with any other language. So you listen to Paul McCartney, he didn't do this like ratiocinating and stuff like that. But hey Jude, that's the really, when we say hey Jude, a bad analysis coming from a university, well, that's a spondee. Both are accented, but Jude is accented more, and he knows, he hears it. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. You see how the end of the phrase is more accented than, we don't say don't make it bad, just don't make it bad. And when you go through Hey Jude, at least the verses, you'll notice that he works up through the phrase to a downbeat. And he hears the English language. He had big ears like an elephant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the way English is. I can't guarantee you about any other language. So it's actually very musical, a lot more musical than we're been led to believe, and things like that. If you can't really, if you don't have a sense of 4/4, 2/4, 3/4 time and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to write songs. You're not, and I'm not going to say you need to have it consciously, but you'd better have it like Paul McCartney, or like hopefully you're going to challenge your listeners with something more challenging than Tin Pan Alley, but you'd better be able to write like a Tin Pan Alley person, and then actually put some content in there that matters.
Mm-hmm. So if you were a little kid, that you would hear a song, and you'd know the song, you'd know the melody all of a sudden, like right away, and you'd be singing constantly. You're a little kid, you can't read or write or anything yet, but you know melodies like crazy. You hear them and you know them. Then later on, you're going to grow up, you're going to go through the school system, you're going to learn how to read and write, and eventually you'll get to a point where you will be able to write good lyrics to go along with your natural memory ability for remembering melodies. So if that wasn't you as a child, when you were a little kid and you're not singing constantly, remembering songs, probably don't write poetry. Honestly. So Gotham. I went through the whole thing now, and the last season was, so I guess there's 5 in here, I think. The last one, boy, that first disc was tough to get through. I don't know if they had some different people working on it or what, but it came around. So even though I was really enjoying the series up until then, that last season, boy, I wasn't. And then later on, I was like, oh, it's actually coming through. So I made some notes here. At first, I was put off by the mixed up time period. Cell phones used along with those cylinder record players, for example, and dresses.
That's a long time ago.
Different. Yeah. So it really spanned. There was different things all mixed up, and I was like, what are they going for here? But I later thought it worked, showing that the gangsters ran Gotham like 100 years ago, and what's changed? You know, they're still gangsters, and people have said Gotham's New York, right? And I would say that's so. You can certainly, if you look into what the cultures that the gangsters came from, the various, you can see that written into here. The characters are described as such, so you can see that. The Fat Cat, season 5. Boy, oh boy, it really frustrates me when you see, especially with these superhero things, when one of the characters has let themselves go and they're like having to wear trench coats more or something like that, right? You don't notice as much with Catwoman, maybe because she wears black at least, but still, boy, would that ever make me mad if I were one of the actors that was having to play along with them. I would be like, that's it. You know, everybody should have to sign a contract saying, I will keep my weight under control. Honestly, I know some of you are listening to me and going, that's like backwards body conscious or whatever. You have to be considerate of people being able to gain weight and whatever. It's not their fault and whatever. No, okay. Everybody can find a diet that's right for them. She might have had some health problems, whatever. But they should have to pay the rest of the, like, they should be somehow charged for, because there's so many other people that are depending on them to make this project work. And when Catwoman all of a sudden turns into a fatty, she's letting the whole team down. Anyway, so that annoys me.
It's possible to resist things that are addictive. What was it you told me about smoking? I used to smoke a little bit. What was it you told me when you decided to quit? It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's easy. Now, she had one relapse, but that was a stressful period. And but then
quitting sugar. That's way harder.
But she gave it up for a second time, and guess when that was? That was 2003. Yeah?
Yep.
Oh,
and that I'd already fallen back into it, right? But I haven't fallen back into it again. No. But I'm not with somebody who is constantly trying to keep me down, because people use cigarettes to control anxiety. So if you're having to live with somebody who's constantly, they need you to
come down to their level?
No, like be in a position where they'll be submissive.
Oh yeah.
If they need you to be that way because they want to be dominant, they need to be dominant, then they're going to keep bringing you down so that you will keep needing whatever these things, and it could be sugar, it could be like chocolates or whatever, that you're going to go for more. But cigarettes, boy, that's one that you're really, if you have problems with anxiety, you're going to go for, or alcohol. You're going to go for those things if you're living with somebody who is frankly abusive. But
cigarettes are awesome because there's the mechanical thing along with
I loved
it,
smoking.
Right?
I loved it. I would smoke 2 cigarettes a day. I would smoke in the morning and I would smoke in the evening. But even then, it's tough to quit. So if I all of a sudden started smoking 3 cigarettes, oh boy, that was tough to get back to the 2. So, but it can be done, and it's a lot easier than quitting sugar. So it's easier to quit smoking than to give up sugar entirely. So
it doesn't help people to enable them when they've got problems. It's like
if you're living with somebody, you're a part of a team, and you want your the players in your team to be as well off as possible. You want a healthy team because they're just an extension of yourself. If you keep them down, you're keeping the whole team down. So
I don't know how to approach people who have got problems like that. I'm going another angle. There's a person that is close to me who's is in palliative care right now, and the person had a real problem with food and overweight, developed diabetes, and developed cancer, and they gave him one operation, and then the cancer came back, and he didn't have enough strength to because of the diabetes. I mean, it took him ages to just get out of hospital from the first thing. Overeating is a killer, folks. It's a killer. And you know, you can go around enabling people who are overeating and stuff, or
So-
really eating poorly.
I'm going to have to, because I've been getting things like this, I'm going to have to go get some GABA. And I can get it from Nutters. It used to be that, like, it's a precursor to tryptophan. It used to be that you could get tryptophan. You can no longer get tryptophan. Not here. So that's the best thing that you can do, is get some of that. And man, that stuff, it'll help you quit anything. So if you're having problems with addiction, having trouble quitting things like sugar, you can do it. The first 3 days are the hardest. That's it. Go hiking. If your endorphins, if you get your endorphins going through, you're on big hikes, you don't even think about it. You don't think about eating, you don't think about really the pain that much that you're causing to yourself. James is able to hike in his condition.
5 fractured vertebrae, folks.
So
Back is always bothering me. And when I get hiking,
you have a long
oftentimes it feels
long
like
weekend coming up.
someone's kind of slid a cleaver into my
3 days.
lungs.
You could be quitting sugar. You could be quitting smoking. You could, whatever, just pack a cooler with some healthy foods that have no sugar and whatever. Go to the mountains and do some hiking, or go to Gracelands. Graceland's probably really beautiful right now.
Yeah.
You'd have to check the weather.
As
Anyway.
far as smoking is concerned, I'm going to mention a guy Paulina and I both work with. I can remember he went to one doctor who was very bad to me. I'm sure he was very civil talking to this one guy who was a smoker. And the doctor was telling him, he should have said it in a nicer way, you got to give up smoking. And this friend of ours didn't give up smoking. I can remember coming back from when I got my first stem cell therapy. I saw him, and he developed lung cancer.
And
it didn't last long after that. You know, people have to be told, you cannot continue to smoke, and you've got to give it up. People have to give up eating poorly and eating too much.
One thing that this guy said in here is that if you're eating, he's really into eating whole foods. And if you're eating fruit, now I would say it's better to eat grapes with seeds in them, right? That's whole foods. If you're eating grapes and they don't have seeds in them, well, that's not really whole foods. But that, for example, he said that in fruit, so this is Kevin Ahern, said that fruit, I don't know if it's all fruit, but I can't remember. You'll have to look at this and look into it yourself. So he said that fruit has something in it that keeps the sugar from being absorbed. And I thought, wow, that's wild. I don't know what that is. But like, I always thought it was something to do with, like, I know it's healthier to eat whole fruit, say, than eat this, or even this, right? This dark chocolate, this should be healthy, and it has chili in it, so that should be healthy too, right?
It may be too healthy to be tasty.
We'll
see,
find out.
folks.
But I thought it would be the fiber in the fruit. I knew it was, like, because I have went on healthy diets and I eat tons of fruit. Just, that's the only sugar that I eat is in the whole fruit, right? So I'll eat lots of blueberries and raspberries and Saskatoons, stuff like that, especially berries, right? But I won't have any sugar that's outside of those things, right? So, and I've known, like, I've been able to, when I do that I'm very thin, and I feel way better. I feel way healthier. But I guess that's why. So,
I don't think you've been very
What's
thin
healthier?
ever with me
okay.
for over 20 years. But she gets down to a healthy weight when she diets. But,
Yeah. Some people thought I was too thin when I was back in 2020 or whatever. But anyway,
I don't think you've ever gotten to that.
all right. So I'm glad, because I felt really healthy then. But so I'll have to get into that again, and it'll come. So they changed actresses in the 5th season for Catwoman later on, and like they had for Poison Ivy. And I guess there was a better explanation for Poison Ivy, the change. Although I hated that they didn't choose a redhead for the final Ivy. They just gave her some red highlights, but her hair was like obviously really naturally dark brown, like almost black. It was ridiculous. So I didn't like that. Find a redhead. How hard is it? I guess it's got to be harder, because I guess natural redheads are not very common. It's the least common color of hair in
But this is
the
Hollywood.
world. But
There's
still,
got to be
yeah.
tens
So-
of thousands of redheads in
But they found
Los
a
Angeles
different
area.
Catwoman in the 5th season. They just aged the characters, right? So then they were able to do that. Anyway, Kraven. Where do I have this one? The Hunter. That's some extreme violence, all right. The line was oversized. That's all. The only comment I had for that one.
Well, I looked in.
Oh.
You know,
Beautiful
it has
scenery.
Russell Crowe in there. There's some acting.
They made Siberia look like a place you want to go to. Tourist destination somehow.
Well, there are places in Siberia. There's some scenic mountains. There's some. When you go east of Siberia, you got the Kamchatka Peninsula. There are volcanoes there and all that sort of stuff. But there are certain parts of Siberia that are just flat as a pancake and with
And you wouldn't want to go there, hey?
conifers.
Yeah. Well, we only have a minute and 49 seconds, so I don't know what to tell you. I've hit Wedding at Graceland. This is a Hallmark movie, and there's stuff I've put underneath it. So I did like
They
the
got
song.
married in Graceland?
Yeah, I guess there's a chapel there. Wedding at Graceland.
Yeah.
So the acting wasn't good. Whatever. It's not a good Hallmark movie as far as Hallmark movies go, and
Well, that's really bad, isn't
yeah.
it?
So, but the singing, whatever, it was great, and I liked the mix-up they did with Hound Dog and another song. I can't remember. They did them
mash-up or
together.
something?
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, Superman and Lois. This is ridiculous. Too soap, not enough super. I put.
Yeah,
So,
it's a soaper.
yeah.
I peeked in and it was awful. You know, when you got Lois Lane, the real Lois Lane was a real pesky individual. So,
All right, so armor. I doubted GMC makes armored trucks. They must have paid for the advertising. The GMC logo was shown close up more than once. I also doubted the armored trucks would have an emergency escape hatch in the roof. Then I thought if GMC made an armored truck, they'd probably put one in. I'm not a fan of GMC.
all
It
their
looked
vehicles should have
ridiculous.
that emergency hatch in the roof.
Like the air vent thing in a camper, only big enough to climb through. It was ridiculous. Why would you? Do you have an armored truck? And come on now, it's ridiculous.
Is that what they got up at the top of the thing? It's air vent, is it? I
That's what they
noticed
had for that movie.
campers always have, not
Oh.
always, but they'll have